Am I audible at the back? Awesome. So, well, a very good afternoon to you all. I believe all of you guys are having a good time over here since last couple of days with all the networking, all the marketing, all the insights that we are all getting from each other. And I believe the iSummit team has done a great job over here of getting all of us, and we are very, very fortunate to be a part of this beautiful setup. So, well, on that note, let me just introduce myself a little bit further. So, as she mentioned, I am Ishan. I lead the marketing, sales, and PR for CreditBee, which happens to be India's largest fintech lending platform for professionals. And one of the things that we do is that we provide digital stack loans, fully stacked digital loans to all the people across the India. Now, before I move on, let me just address a couple of things as a part of this presentation. One is, what do I mean by New India? So when I say marketing hacks for New India, what exactly is this New India? The second question is that why have I taken this theme as a part of my presentation? So why am I talking about this? So firstly, when I say New India, I typically mean the people who have graduated from consumers only to both consumers and customers in the last 5 years. So typically people who have started making purchase decisions for themselves in the last 5 to 7 years. And if I have to, I'm sorry. So if I have to put a number over there, it's typically people who are in the age range of 16 to 25 at the moment. So people who have just started making purchase decisions for themselves are the ones whom I am calling New India. The second point, which is why exactly have I taken this theme as a part of my presentation, is something to do with my first-hand experience as a marketer. So when we started with our first platform in 2016, which is CrazyBee, again with a K, which is a marketing platform for college students, one thing that we realized was that the kind of viewpoint, the kind of lens through which this young India looks at things is very, very different from how the other people look at it. So the rest of the people are very different compared to the ones who belong a part of this New India, who typically reach out with a very different proposition, who have a very different way of looking at things. And hence, when we as advertisers, we as marketers, when we reach out to these consumers, essentially the way in which we look at them has to be very, very different. Because otherwise, we won't be able to relate to them in a way that they understand us. Right. So with this premise, let me just move on and try to understand the New India a little bit better. So these are a few characteristics which we believe or we identified defines the New India in a very categorical manner. So let's go through these points one by one. So one is secure. So the New India, the people who belong to this age group that I just talked about, so they are essentially people who are very, very secure. They are they have a very good clarity of thought in what they believe in, what they genuinely stand for. They are digitally very, very savvy, which means they are open to try out new digital propositions in a very fast-paced and streamlined manner. Low attention span. So again, people are slightly more impatient in this segment. The people in this particular demographic don't stick around for too long, and if it doesn't catch their attention very, very quickly, it doesn't really excite them further up. Risk-taking. So these people have the propensity to try new things, try more things, and see what's out there for them. So that's one more thing that is very, very definitive of them. People in this age group are very independent in the sense that they don't want to rely on someone else, whether it's financially, whether it's psychologically, whether it's emotionally. People in this age group try to take their own decisions themselves and like that sense of freedom that they get as a part of their overall being. When I say challenger, it typically means they are not comfortable with the status quo. So if something does not make sense to them, they will try to question it. They would try to figure out what makes more sense for them. And in any case, if it's something that they want to change, they'll go ahead and they'll change it. They are very comfortable with the trends. They are very well aware of what's happening in the ecosystem, and they don't want to miss out on what's happening, which again gets covered as a part of the FOMO, which is fear of missing out. So if there is something that's going on there, they will definitely try to go and reach out for that. They have very strong opinions about things, which means they have a very, as I said in the secure part, that they have a very good clarity of thought, and they know what exactly they want, and their opinions are very, very categorical. And finally, ostentatious, which typically means that they love to brag, they love to show off. So if you talk to any teenager, towards the later teens or early 20s, so they like, if they like something or they relate to something, they would love to talk about it more often. So these are a few characteristics which we identified are very typical of people who belong to this age group. And the further part of this presentation is about how we are using this insight or how we are using this understanding to reach out to these consumers in a way that is very, very specific to them. So the first point is hyper-personalization. So when I say hyper-personalization, it's not just getting that SMS with my name at the very beginning, like, hi, Ishan, and giving me a particular birthday wish on my birthday, which I would have filled up on the CRM. So that's probably personalization that made sense 10 or 20 years back. But the hyper-personalization I'm talking about is more about relating to their actual existence. So for instance, let's say I am a Surd who's based out of North India, let's say Punjab, and I view an advertisement which has the proposition which makes a lot of sense to me, but the character that is being used in that advertisement, whether it's, let's say, a static ad or whether even it's a video, has a character which is, let's say, South Indian, or let's say somebody who's non-Indian. Now, consciously, I know that, okay, this is a fictional piece which is trying to sell me something or give me a sense of what the proposition is. But subconsciously, I'm not able to relate there. I'm not able to find myself over there, and hence, something is not right, and that could be the trigger between me making that purchase decision or not. The other scenario can be using vernacular. So when we reach out to people who are in tier 2, tier 3 cities, and we reach out to them in a language that is slightly foreign to them, they are not able to relate to us the same way that they probably would in case somebody would reach out to them in a language which is much more relatable to them. So long story short, the level of personalization that we are talking about is not just with those PII coordinates, but also trying to identify the persona which the user belongs to and trying to make more sense out of it. So let's say if my interest is traveling, and if I see a use case of travel in a personal loan ad that is being targeted to me, then that would make a lot more sense than maybe giving me a personal loan ad for running a business or something else, right? So that's the personalization aspect that we are talking about, which makes a lot of sense. The second is efficiency. So when you talk about efficiency, it's not just being efficient with respect to the business operations, but also the product or the process experience that you provide to the consumer is something that is very important when it comes to converting and retaining these new Indian users. Because today time is money, effort is money, so essentially if you are reaching out to someone with a proposition that does not ease out the process and someone else does, then there is very high propensity for the user to shift over there versus sticking to your brand. So it's very important for any marketer who is reaching out to this particular target audience to ensure that the product experience that the user is getting is very seamless, the number of clicks are very less, the overall process is very efficient, if I may say. The third important point is being a part of their identity. So as I said earlier, that people have this propensity of showing off, and they're very proud of being themselves. They have a very differentiated view towards things. So if as a brand, if as an entity, if we are able to become a part of their existence, if we are a brand that they relate to, and they would go out and speak about us among their friends, among their family, in their professional network, then there are two benefits. One is somebody who is proud of being your brand advocate will definitely stick with your brand longer than lesser. The other part is that because they're speaking very regularly about your brand, they would definitely reach out to other people, and that would immensely help in your word of mouth and sales via referral. So helping in connecting with the individual via their entity, again, plays a huge role when it comes to this particular age group. Testimonials, I think we all know, it's nothing new to us. But when you talk about testimonials in this age group, it is slightly more contextualized. So if I see a random testimonial on a website from a person I don't know, so that is as good as a very, I would say, a third-party reference, which I might or might not lay a lot of credibility on. Right. Versus if I see a testimonial which belongs to, or which is coming from somebody who belongs to the cohort that I belong to, let's say the same age group, the same city, the same probably college that I have studied in, right? So that sort of a testimonial would play a bigger part in my belief or my credibility towards that particular brand or proposition. So when you're using testimonials, the idea is to use testimonials in a very, very contextualized way, which will help the user or help the individual to actually lay larger confidence, because when it comes to advertisements these days, people know that it's just a brand ambassador who's advocating a proposition on television or on YouTube. But actually the real value or the real belief comes from people who belong to your cohort, and that's something the new Indians pay a huge importance to. The fifth part is giving more meaningful offers. So people in this age group are not typically looking for subsidy. If you are actually providing them any offer or any kind of a benefit, it has to be, again, very, very relevant. So for instance, I'll take an example. I ordered something from Instamart a couple of days back when I was in Bangalore. And interestingly, I got some free 5 rupee cake from Britannia that they gave me as a freebie. Now, there are two benefits. One is I was not expecting it. If it's a cashback or a coupon code, when I'm applying for the purchase, I exactly know the benefit that I'm going to get, and I'm done and dusted with the purchase. I know that, okay, this is something that I'm going to get. But when I get something additional at the time of delivery, that has that wow surprise moment. The second thing is that particular SKU is actually a very fast-moving SKU, and it's a very good way for me to get, or for the brand to get my buy-in towards that SKU, because I might end up purchasing that a lot beyond a period of time. So offers like this, offers which are not just vanilla cashbacks or money in the bank, these are offers which actually are aligned with the lifestyle of the user and make a difference to the user beyond transactional value. And these kind of offers will actually play a bigger role in not just acquisition, but retention of the user. So the final bits, get quirky. So you guys have watched the cred ads, the ones that are being projected at the IPL? Most of you, right? So these are the ads which, interestingly, people are searching on YouTube. So I mean, when I was growing up, or even in my last 6-7 years, I haven't seen a lot of people searching for ads on YouTube or searching for ad content across the different search engines. But the reason why people have started to move towards entertaining, quirky content is because it does not act as a filler between the actual piece that you're watching. It is something that people are looking forward to when it comes to the entertainment quotient. And that is where content, or rather advertisement that comes as a part of entertaining content, plays a huge role when it comes to creating a virality. And that's where the marketing domain is moving, is what we again understood, especially when it comes to this age group, which is very young and which wants to kind of go for something which is a little more exciting, little more out of the box. So finally, I would want to conclude with this point that when you reach out to your audience, and this is generic for both the professional and the personal side, both the new India and, let's say, the non-new India, that when you reach out to your consumers, when you reach out to your target audience, try to be as genuine, as human, as authentic as possible, because at the end of the day, your audience understands that you're just a brand trying to make a difference in their lives. They don't want you to be, of course, it would be great if you are as perfect as it gets, but they don't expect you to be perfect as much as they expect you to be genuine. So be yourself and all's going to be good. Thank you so much.